The alarm systems screamed across Luna Base as Commander Dae-Sung rushed into the command center. His boots echoed against the metal floor as dozens of officers stared at their screens with pale faces. Something massive had appeared at the edge of the solar system, and it was not from Earth. The object was enormous, larger than any moon. It gleamed like crystal in the darkness of space, pulsing with colors that hurt to look at. Dae-Sung had been a fighter pilot for 15 years, had flown through asteroid fields and survived 3 near misses with space debris. Nothing had ever made his hands shake like this. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," said Lieutenant Na-Ri, her fingers flying across her console. "It's being translated automatically into every Earth language simultaneously. Someone wants to talk." The main screen flickered to life. The being that appeared was not human, not even close. Its body seemed to be made of living light, constantly shifting between blue and gold. Where its face should be, there was only a swirling mass of energy. When it spoke, the voice came from everywhere at once. "Primitive species of the 3rd planet. You have been located by the Galaxy Council. We represent 47 civilized worlds spanning this region of space. You will submit to classification and integration into our systems. This is not negotiable. You have 72 hours to respond with your surrender." The transmission ended as suddenly as it began. The command center fell silent except for the soft beeping of computers. Dae-Sung felt his stomach turn cold. He had always wondered if humans were alone in the universe. Now he had his answer, and it was worse than he imagined. Within 6 hours, President Hae-Jin convened an emergency meeting in the underground war room beneath New Seoul. The room was packed with military leaders, scientists, and government officials. General Tai-ho stood at the main display, his weathered face grim as he showed satellite images of the alien vessel. "It's just sitting there," Tai-ho said, pointing at the holographic projection. "Not moving, not attacking. They're waiting for us to roll over like good dogs." "What are our options?" Hae-Jin asked. She had been president for only 2 years, elected during peacetime. No one had trained her for alien invasions. "3 choices," Tai-ho continued. "We surrender and become their slaves. We pay them tribute forever. Or we refuse and they exterminate us. According to the message, that is standard procedure. Every species they have met has chosen surrender or tribute within the first day." Scientist Ji-won raised her hand from the back of the room. She was young, barely 30, but she had been studying the alien transmission for hours. "I found something interesting in their message. They have protocols for species that resist. Very detailed protocols. But when I analyzed the data, I noticed something strange. These protocols have never been used, not once. Every single species they have encountered surrendered immediately." The room erupted in conversation. Hae-Jin held up her hand for silence. "What does that mean?" Ji-won stepped forward, adjusting her glasses nervously. "It means they have never actually fought a war. They show up, demonstrate their superior technology, and everyone gives up. They are bullies who have never been punched back." "That doesn't help us," said Admiral Wu Jin, captain of Earth's largest warship. "Their technology is still centuries ahead of ours. One ship versus our entire fleet. We would lose." "Maybe," Ji-won said quietly. "But they don't expect us to fight at all. That could be an advantage." Hae-Jin looked around the room at the faces of Earth's defenders. She saw fear, yes, but also anger. Humans had clawed their way up from caves to space stations. They had survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars. The idea of bowing to these crystal beings made her blood boil. "Send them our response," Hae-Jin said firmly. "Tell them thank you for the offer, but Earth politely declines. We will govern ourselves." Tai-ho smiled for the first time that day. "They won't like that." "I don't care what they like," Hae-Jin replied. "Start fortifying the solar system. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. If they want Earth, They will have to take it from our dead hands." The response was transmitted exactly 72 hours after the first contact. On the alien vessel, the Council representatives gathered to view Earth's answer. They expected a surrender document, perhaps with some requests for favorable treatment. Instead, they received a simple message: no. The Council was confused. In 10,000 years of expansion, no species had ever said no. They debated among themselves for several hours. Finally, they decided this must be a misunderstanding. Surely these primitive beings did not comprehend the situation. They would send a peacekeeping fleet, just 200 ships, a small force. When the humans saw the fleet, they would understand and surrender properly. Back on Earth, preparations moved at frantic speed. General Tae-ho coordinated the defense grid. Every military base went to maximum alert. Civilian ships were retrofitted with weapons. Factories that made cars and computers switched to producing missiles and armor. The entire planet became an armed camp in just 3 weeks. Commander Dae-sung worked with engineer Subin to prepare Luna Base's defenses. Subin was a genius with weapons systems, but she had a strange smile when she worked, like she was playing a game only she understood. "What are you planning?" Dae-sung asked as he watched her install strange devices throughout the asteroid belt. "Something the Council has never seen before," Subin replied. "They think war is civilized. They think it has rules. We're going to teach them that humans don't play fair." The Council fleet arrived 3 weeks later, sleek ships of silver and gold that moved through space like sharks through water. They positioned themselves in a standard peacekeeping formation, shields set to minimum power. This was meant to be a show of force, not a real battle. Captain Woo Jin watched from the bridge of his warship as the alien fleet approached. His crew was silent, waiting for orders. He had written letters to his family, said his goodbyes. He knew this might be humanity's last stand. "All ships," Woo Jin said into his communicator. "Remember what we're fighting for. Remember who we are. Humans don't kneel, not now, not ever." The trap was set. Earth's response would shock the galaxy. Fleetmaster Vorn had commanded Council peacekeeping missions for 3 centuries. In all that time, he had never fired a shot in actual combat. His job was simple: arrive, look impressive, accept the surrender. Today should be no different. These humans would see his 200 warships and immediately understand their mistake. His flagship glided past Mars, its golden hull reflecting the distant sun. The formation was perfect, exactly as prescribed in the Council manual. Shields were set to ceremonial strength, just enough to deflect small debris. Weapons were powered, but not armed. Everything was by the book. "Fleetmaster," his sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting unusual activity in the asteroid belt. Multiple small objects moving in irregular patterns." Vorn barely glanced at the readings. "Mining operations, most likely. These primitives extract resources from space rocks. Nothing to concern us." That was his first mistake. Captain Woo Jin watched the alien fleet advance into the asteroid belt, right where he wanted them. His hand hovered over the detonation switch. Subin's plan was insane, barbaric even by human standards. But it would work. It had to work. "All ships hold position," Woo Jin ordered. "Wait for my signal." The Council fleet moved deeper into the belt. Their sensors focused forward, watching for Earth's ships. They did not notice the hundreds of small objects attached to asteroids around them. They did not realize that humans had spent 3 weeks turning the entire belt into a minefield. "Now," Woo Jin said quietly, and pressed the button. Nuclear fire bloomed across the asteroid belt. Not one explosion, but hundreds, thousands. Each carefully placed mine detonated in sequence, creating a cascade of destruction. The asteroids themselves became weapons, shattered into millions of high-velocity fragments that tore through the Council formation. Vorn's flagship shook violently. Alarms screamed as shields collapsed under the assault. He watched in horror as ship after ship disappeared from his tactical display, ripped apart by nuclear explosions and rocky shrapnel. "Shields up! Maximum power!" Vorn screamed. But it was too late for most of his fleet. The humans had not announced their attack. They had not issued warnings. They had simply waited until the council ships were in the perfect position and then struck without mercy. "This is impossible!" Vorn's tactical officer shouted. "They're using nuclear weapons, chemical explosives. These are banned weapons. This violates every treaty of civilized warfare." "I don't think they care about our treaties," Vorn said, his voice hollow with shock. In 30 seconds, he had lost 70 ships. 70 ships to a species they had classified as primitive. But the nightmare was only beginning. From hidden positions throughout the solar system, Earth's fleet emerged. They did not fly in formation. They did not follow any tactical doctrine the Council recognized. Instead, they came at the alien ships from every direction, firing everything they had. Lieutenant Young-Soo led his fighter squadron in a maneuver that would have gotten him court-martialed under normal circumstances. He aimed his ship directly at a council cruiser, engines at maximum burn. "Sir, that's a suicide run," his wingman shouted over the radio. "I know," Young-Soo replied calmly. "Tell my daughter I love her." His fighter smashed into the council ship at a significant fraction of light speed. The kinetic energy alone was devastating. The cruiser broke in half, its shields never designed to stop something so crude, so brutal. 6 more fighters followed Young-Soo's example. The Council fleet, designed to fight from a distance with energy weapons, had no defense against pilots willing to die to destroy them. Vorn could not believe what he was seeing. These humans were crashing their own ships into his fleet. Deliberately. He had read about such tactics in ancient historical texts, but no civilized species had used them in millennia. "They're mad," he whispered. "Completely mad." Engineer Subin activated the second phase of Earth's defense from her control station on Luna Base. Hidden platforms scattered throughout the inner solar system came online, each one disguised to look like satellites or space debris. They fired electromagnetic pulse weapons, crude but effective tools that fried the Council ship's delicate electronics. The alien vessels, dependent on complex computer systems for everything, began to drift helplessly as their technology failed. Some collided with each other, adding to the chaos. Commander Dae-sung led the Earth Defense Fleet in a coordinated assault on the Council's command ships. His strategy was simple and brutal. Identify the most important targets and throw everything at them. No mercy, no hesitation, no rules. "Target their communications arrays first," Dae-sung ordered. "I want them blind and confused." Missiles streaked across space, many of them carrying payloads the Council had never imagined. Chemical weapons designed to corrode metal. Biological agents that attacked organic computer systems. Cyber warfare programs that infected alien networks. Earth was using every dirty trick in the human playbook. The Council soldiers, trained for ceremonial duties and peaceful interventions, panicked. They had never experienced violence on this scale. They did not know how to fight an enemy that refused to follow the rules, that treated war as a matter of survival rather than a political exercise. Vorn finally managed to organize a retreat. Of his original 200 ships, only 78 remained functional. The rest were destroyed, disabled, or captured by human boarding parties who showed up in armored suits and took control by force. "Fall back!" Vorn transmitted to his scattered fleet. "All ships retreat to minimum safe distance." The Council ships that could still move began to withdraw, moving as fast as their damaged engines would allow. The human fleet pursued them, harrying them every step of the way, refusing to let them escape cleanly. Captain Wu Jin stood on his bridge, watching the alien fleet flee. His ship was damaged. Several decks were venting atmosphere, and he had lost a third of his crew. But they had won. Against all odds, humans had won. Status report, Wu Jin said tiredly. Enemy fleet is retreating beyond Mars orbit, Nari reported. They're leaving debris, disabled ships, and, sir, they're abandoning their wounded. Wu Jin felt a cold satisfaction at that. The council talked about civilization and order, but when things got difficult, they left their own people behind. Typical bullies. Rescue the survivors, Wu Jin ordered. Bring them to Luna Base. They might have information we can use. Across Earth, people watched the battle through live feeds from military satellites. When it became clear that the Council fleet was retreating, celebrations erupted in every city. People danced in the streets, crying and laughing at the same time. Humanity had faced the galaxy's power and had not blinked. But in the underground war room, President Haye Jin did not celebrate. She looked at the casualty reports, the names of the dead, the pilots who had sacrificed themselves. Young Su's name was on that list. So were hundreds of others. This was just their peacekeeping fleet, General Tae-ho said quietly. A small force meant to intimidate us. When the Council learns what happened here, they will send their real military. Then we prepare, Hee-jin said. We've shown them we can fight. Now we show them we can win. In the depths of space, Fleet Master Vorn sat alone in his quarters, staring at the casualty list. More Council soldiers had died in 1 hour than in the previous 1,000 years combined. He had to report this to the Council, had to tell them that the humans were not like other species. The humans were dangerous. The Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 47 worlds argued, shouted, and demanded answers. In the center of the vast crystalline hall, Arbiter Keln tried to maintain order, but even his authority was being questioned after the disaster at Earth. 122 ships lost, roared the delegate from Vornus Prime, against a species that has not even achieved faster-than-light travel. This is impossible. Fleetmaster Vorn stood before the assembly, his once proud form now dimmed with shame. They did not fight like any species we have encountered. They used weapons we banned 10,000 years ago. Nuclear devices, chemical agents, kinetic impacts. They crashed their own ships into ours deliberately, killing their own pilots just to destroy us. The chamber fell silent. Several delegates made gestures of disgust or disbelief. Suicide attacks? Whispered the pale sage of Terminus. That is barbaric, uncivilized. No rational being would throw away their life in such a manner. These humans are not rational, Vorn said quietly. They are predators. They have spent their entire history killing each other in increasingly efficient ways. War is their natural state. They have refined it into an art form. Arbiter Keln raised his hand for silence. Then we must reclassify them. They are not a Class 7 species. We must designate them as what they truly are, a predator species. Only twice before in galactic history have we encountered such beings, and both times we had to exterminate them completely. The vote was swift. Earth was officially classified as a threat to galactic peace. On Earth, Intelligence Officer Na-Ri worked late into the night, analyzing captured Council communications. She had managed to access several disabled Council ships and download their databases. What she found made her blood run cold. "General Tae-ho, you need to see this," she said, projecting files onto the main screen. Tae-ho studied the alien text, which Earth's computers had learned to translate. "What am I looking at?" "Council military doctrine," Na-Ri explained. "They have not fought a real war in thousands of years. Their ships are designed for intimidation, not combat. Their soldiers train for peacekeeping, not battle. But look at this section here." She highlighted a section titled Predator Species Protocol. "When they encounter a species that fights back, they don't negotiate, they don't try to understand, they simply exterminate them, completely. They sterilize the entire planet, destroy every ship, eliminate every trace. They have done this twice before." Tae-ho felt his mouth go dry. How long before they decide to do that to us? They're probably debating it right now, Nari said. But here's the interesting part. Both previous predator species were eliminated quickly because they surrendered after the first major battle. They tried to negotiate, asked for mercy. The council used that moment of weakness to destroy them. So we cannot show weakness, Teho said. Ever. Exactly, Nari confirmed. The moment we ask for peace, they will strike. In her laboratory deep beneath Tokyo, scientist Ji Wan made a breakthrough. She had been studying the captured council ships, taking them apart piece by piece. The technology was advanced, yes, but it was also fragile. The council had spent so long without conflict that they had optimized for efficiency rather than durability. Look at this shield generator, Ji-won explained to her team. It's beautiful, elegant, uses a fraction of the power ours would require, but it's designed to deflect energy weapons and space debris. It never occurred to them that someone might just ram a missile into it at high speed. Her assistant Hyun-sik examined the device. Can we copy it? Better, Ji-won said with a smile. I can improve it. Make it stronger, more resistant to the kind of attacks we favor. We can build better shields than the Council has, using their own technology against them. President Hyojin addressed the United Nations Security Council via secure hologram. The room was packed with leaders from every nation. The alien threat had unified humanity in a way nothing else ever had. The Council is debating whether to exterminate us, Hyojin said bluntly. They see us as animals that need to be put down. We cannot change their minds with diplomacy. We cannot appeal to their mercy because they have none. We can only make them understand that killing us will cost them dearly. What do you propose? Asked the Premier of the Eastern Alliance. Project Scorched Galaxy, Hyojin said, bringing up a tactical display. General Teho has developed a protocol. If Earth falls, we ensure the Council pays the maximum price. We have identified the locations of 12 Council homeworlds from the captured databases. We are building weapons designed to reach those worlds, even if it takes decades. The leaders murmured in shock. Some looked horrified. Others nodded in grim agreement. You're talking about revenge weapons, said the Chancellor of Europa. Doomsday devices. I'm talking about deterrence, He-jin corrected. The Council needs to understand that destroying Earth means destroying themselves. Mutual assured destruction. It kept humans from nuclear war for a century. It can work on a galactic scale, too. In the underground cities that had been built across the planet, civilian leader Kang Dai organized resistance training. Former soldiers taught office workers how to fire rifles. Engineers showed factory workers how to build improvised explosives. Earth was preparing for the possibility of invasion, and every human would be a soldier if needed. Why are we learning this? Asked a young teacher. We won the first battle. Kang Dae looked at her seriously. That was their peacekeeping fleet. 200 ships. The Council has thousands more. When they come back, they will bring everything they have. Some of them might land on Earth. If that happens, we make them regret every step they take on our soil. The Council finally reached a decision. They would send the Grand Armada, 5,000 warships led by War Marshal Thorne. He was ancient, had fought in the last predator species war 3,000 years ago. If anyone could eliminate the human threat, it was him. But War Marshal Thorne was cautious. He studied the reports from Vorn's fleet, watched the recordings of human tactics. He saw the suicide attacks, the nuclear mines, the complete disregard for any concept of civilized warfare. These humans fight like cornered animals, Thorne told his officers. They are willing to die to hurt us. That makes them more dangerous than any species we have faced. We will not underestimate them. He issued orders that shocked his fleet. Maximum shields at all times. No ceremonial formations. Weapons armed and ready. Expect attacks from any direction, using any method. Trust nothing. The Council fleet began its journey toward Earth, but it would take time to assemble such a massive force. Weeks at least, possibly months. Earth used that time to prepare its counterattack. Commander Dae Sung led a secret mission, taking 12 of Earth's fastest ships into deep space. Their target, Council territory. If the aliens wanted war, humans would bring the war to them. "Sir, this is crazy," his second-in-command said. "We're talking about attacking their worlds directly. That will provoke them even more." "They're already planning to exterminate us," Dae Sung replied. "We have nothing to lose. But if we can strike their homeworlds, make them feel unsafe in their own space, we might make them think twice. Fear is a weapon too." As Earth's strike team prepared to launch, Nari intercepted a Council transmission. It was Arbiter Keln speaking to the galactic media. "The human species must be eliminated for the safety of all civilized worlds. They are a plague, a cancer that will spread if not removed. This is not a matter of choice. It is a matter of survival." When President Hae-jin heard the broadcast, she smiled grimly. "Good. They're afraid. Fear makes people stupid, and stupid enemies make mistakes." General Taeho stood beside her, looking at the tactical display. Earth was surrounded by red markers indicating Council forces, but now green markers showed human ships moving into Council space. "We're going to make them pay," Taeho said. "Even if we lose, the galaxy will remember that humans did not go quietly." "We're not going to lose," Hae-jin said firmly. "We're going to teach the galaxy a new rule: never threaten humanity." The war was escalating, and the galaxy had never seen anything like it. Commander Dae Sung's strike force emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Kelton system, home to 3 billion Council citizens. His 12 ships were tiny compared to the orbital defense platforms that surrounded the planet, but size was not everything. Humans had learned that lesson well. "Target the communications satellites first," Dae Sung ordered. "I want them scared and confused before they even know we're here." The attack was swift and brutal. Earth's missiles, equipped with G1's improved guidance systems, struck the satellites with perfect precision. Within minutes, Kelton's entire communication network was dark. Then the real assault began. Dae Sung had no intention of destroying the planet. That would be wasteful. Instead, his ships fired specially designed weapons at the orbital factories and space stations. Each projectile was simple: a dense metal rod accelerated to enormous speeds. No explosives needed, just mass and velocity. The orbital facilities shattered like glass. Debris rained down into Kelton's atmosphere, creating spectacular meteor showers that terrified the population below. No one died. But millions watched their sky burn and understood that humans had reached them. "Broadcast the message," Dae Sung said. His communications officer transmitted on all frequencies. "This is the Earth Defense Force. Today you felt what fear is. Tomorrow we could target your planet instead of your stations. Tell your council, leave Earth alone, or every world in your territory becomes our target. We will make you feel what you wanted to do to us." The Kelton government's emergency response was chaos. They had no military beyond police forces. War was something that happened in history books, not in real life. Yet here were humans, species they had never heard of until recently, attacking their homeworld with impunity. Across Council space, similar attacks occurred. Strike Commander Hyun-sik led a daring raid on the Thornval shipyards, one of the largest military construction facilities in the galaxy. His team infiltrated using captured Council ships, bypassing security with codes stolen from Nari's intelligence operations. "Remember," Hyun-sik told his team as they prepared to board, "we're not here to kill people. We're here to steal and destroy. Grab any technology we can carry, sabotage everything else, and get out." The raid lasted 17 minutes. Hyun-sik's team moved through the shipyards like ghosts, planting explosives, copying data files, and stealing several prototype weapons from the research section. When they evacuated, the explosions could be seen from the planet below. But the most devastating attack came from civilian scientist Mi Young. She had been studying the Council's computer networks, learning how their AI systems operated. She discovered something remarkable. Their systems were networked. Every ship, every station, every computer terminal could communicate with every other one. It made their civilization efficient. It also made them vulnerable. Mi Young created a virus, a simple program that exploited a flaw in the Council's operating system. She called it Chaos Protocol. When activated, it would make every computer in the Council network behave erratically. Doors would lock randomly, life support would fluctuate, navigation systems would give false readings. Nothing would work properly. She transmitted the virus through captured Council communication arrays. Within hours, it spread across Council space like wildfire. Suddenly, millions of systems began malfunctioning simultaneously. The Council's technological superiority became their weakness as their own computers turned against them. War Marshal Thorne received reports of the attacks while his Grand Armada was still assembling. He read the tactical summaries with growing concern. The humans were not waiting to be attacked. They were striking first, hitting civilian targets, using terror as a weapon. "This is not warfare," his second-in-command said with disgust. "This is terrorism." "This is survival," Thorne corrected. "They know they cannot defeat us in open battle, so they attack our weaknesses, our complacency, our interconnected systems, our assumption that war has rules." He paused, studying the reports. "They are teaching us what real war looks like." Back on Earth, Captain Wu Jin prepared his fleet for the Grand Armada's arrival. His flagship had been repaired, but he knew that the upcoming battle would make the first engagement look like a small skirmish. "We hurt them," Wu Jin told his crew. "We made them afraid, but they are coming with everything they have. 5,000 ships against our few hundred. This time, we might not win." One of his officers, a young woman named Yuna, raised her hand. "Then why do we fight, sir? If we cannot win, why not surrender?" Wu Jin looked at her sadly. "Because they will kill us anyway. They have classified us as a predator species. There is no surrender option anymore. We fight because that is what humans do when faced with extinction. We fight because maybe, just maybe, we can make them regret starting this war. And if we must die, we die making them pay for every inch of space they take." The crew was silent, but he saw the determination in their eyes. They understood. Engineer Subin had not been idle. She had converted the entire asteroid belt into a weapons platform. Every rock larger than a car was now either a mine, a missile launcher, or a railgun emplacement. Earth's orbital space was a fortress, bristling with weapons both sophisticated and crude. "The Council expects us to defend Earth directly," Subin explained to General Tai-Ho. "They will come in force, shields maximum, ready for a big battle. But we are not going to give them that battle. We are going to bleed them. Every step toward Earth will cost them ships. We will make them afraid to advance." Tai-Ho looked at the defensive network with satisfaction. "They wanted to exterminate us cleanly. We will make it messy." President Hai-Jin addressed the planet one final time before the Grand Armada arrived. Every screen, every device showed her face as she spoke. "My fellow humans, the enemy approaches with overwhelming force. They intend to destroy our world and erase us from existence. They believe we will break, that we will beg for mercy. They are wrong." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We are the children of Earth. We survived ice and fire. We conquered our own world against impossible odds. We reached the stars through determination and sacrifice. And now, when faced with extinction, we will show the galaxy what humanity truly means. We will not beg. We will not surrender. We will make them remember that humans, once threatened, become the most dangerous force in the universe." The broadcast ended. across Earth. In bunkers and shelters, in military bases and civilian homes, humans prepared for the battle that would decide their species' fate. Intelligence Officer Nari made one final discovery in the captured Council databases. She found files labeled Ultimate Sanction Protocol. It detailed exactly how the Council exterminated predator species. Total planetary bombardment, followed by biological weapons that sterilized all life. They had used it twice before. She brought the information to President Hyejin immediately. "This is what they plan to do to us," Nari said, her voice shaking. "They will burn our planet to ash." Hyejin looked at the files, her face expressionless. Then she made a decision that would change galactic history. "Activate Project Scorched Galaxy," she ordered. "Launch the relativistic missiles now, before the Grand Armada arrives. Target all 12 Council homeworlds." Tejo looked shocked. "Madam President, those missiles cannot be recalled. Once launched, they will reach their targets in 50 to 200 years, depending on distance. If we launch now, we commit to mutual destruction." "That's the point," Yejin said coldly. "Let the Council come with their 5,000 ships. Let them burn our world. But they will do it knowing that in 50 years, in 100 years, in 2 centuries, our missiles will reach their homeworlds and do the same to them. Every Council citizen will grow up knowing that humanity's revenge is coming and nothing can stop it. That is our legacy. That is our final message to the galaxy." The missiles launched from hidden facilities across the solar system. 12 weapons, each one a masterpiece of human engineering, accelerating to a significant fraction of light speed. They were too fast to intercept, too small to detect easily. By the time the Council realized what they were, it would be far too late. War Marshal Thorne received the warning from his long-range sensors. 12 objects had left Earth's solar system at incredible speeds, heading toward Council space. His analysts calculated the targets and arrival times. "They are revenge weapons," his science officer reported, "designed to ensure that even if Earth falls, the Council homeworlds will be destroyed decades from now." Thorne felt something he had not experienced in 3,000 years, true fear. The humans had weaponized time itself. Win or lose this battle, the Council would pay the price. "Contact Arbiter Keln," Thorne ordered. "We need to discuss terms." The galaxy was about to learn that humans played a very different game. The Grand Armada emerged from hyperspace like a metal storm. 5,000 warships, each one gleaming with advanced technology and bristling with weapons. They formed up in perfect ranks, filling the space beyond Jupiter with their presence. War Marshal Thorne commanded from his massive dreadnought, watching Earth's blue sphere in the distance. "Status report," Thorne demanded. "Sensors detect extensive fortifications throughout the solar system," his tactical officer reported. "The asteroid belt has been converted into a defensive grid, multiple weapons platforms on moons and satellites. And, sir, the humans have deployed their entire fleet. Every ship they have is here." "How many?" 342 vessels, War Marshal. We outnumber them 15 to 1. Thorne studied the displays. The human fleet was positioned in a loose formation between Mars and Jupiter, not clustered together as the Council doctrine suggested. He recognized the strategy. They were preparing to hit and run, to drag out the battle rather than fight it all at once. "They know they cannot win," Thorne said quietly. "But they will make us bleed for every meter." Captain Wu Jin stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the overwhelming force approaching his world. His hands were steady now. Fear had burned away during the weeks of preparation, leaving only cold determination. "All ships, listen carefully," Wu Jin transmitted to the fleet. "Today we fight the largest battle in human history. The enemy has more ships, better technology, and every advantage. But they do not have our courage. They do not have our will. They come to destroy our home, and we will show them the price of that ambition." He paused, looking at his crew. Young and old, veterans and recruits, all of them ready to die. Remember the names of those we lost. Remember young Sue, who gave his life in the first battle. Remember every pilot, every soldier, every person who sacrificed everything for Earth. Today we honor them. Today we make the galaxy remember humanity. Forward! The human fleet surged toward the Council Armada at maximum speed. It was not a careful, measured advance. It was a charge, wild and aggressive, exactly what the Council did not expect. Thorne saw the human ships accelerating and felt a moment of disbelief. They are attacking? Against 5,000 ships they are attacking? Confirmed. War Marshal, human fleet is on intercept course. They are not attempting to defend Earth. They are coming straight at us. Mad, Thorne whispered. They are completely mad. The battle began with the asteroid belt coming alive. Subin's hidden weapons opened fire simultaneously, thousands of railguns launching projectiles at the Council fleet. The Grand Armada's shields held, but the constant barrage forced them to divert power from weapons to defense. Then the human fleet hit them. Wu Jin's ships did not try to engage in a traditional battle. Instead, they focused on the Council's command vessels, targeting the ships that controlled the fleet's coordination. Missiles, kinetic weapons, even old-fashioned torpedoes streaked across space. Several human ships, already damaged beyond repair, followed young Sue's example and crashed directly into Council dreadnoughts. The Council fleet reeled from the savage assault. They outnumbered the humans massively, but the humans fought with a desperation and ferocity that overwhelmed their tactical planning. Every human ship fought like it was the last one remaining. Commander Dae Sung, having returned from his strike missions, led a squadron through the heart of the Council formation. His goal was suicidal: reach Thorne's command ship and destroy it. "Sir, we are taking heavy fire," his pilot reported. "Shields at 40%. "Keep going," Dae Sung ordered. "We only need to get close enough." His squadron was reduced to 3 ships by the time they reached the dreadnought. 2 of those ships sacrificed themselves, ramming into the shields to create a momentary gap. Dae Sung's ship flew through, firing everything it had at point-blank range. The dreadnought's armor held, but the bridge section took severe damage. Thorne was thrown from his command chair as explosions rocked the ship. When he stood up, he saw Dae Sung's ship spiraling away, crippled but intact. "Get that human ship!" Thorne roared. "I want its commander alive!" But in the chaos of battle, Dae Sung's ship was lost among the thousands of vessels fighting throughout the solar system. On Earth, President Hae-jin watched the battle from the underground command center. The casualty reports were devastating. The human fleet was being destroyed. For every Council ship lost, Earth lost 5. It was not sustainable. General Tae-ho stood beside her, his face grim. "We are losing. The fleet cannot hold much longer." "How long before the Council can reach Earth?" Hae-jin asked. 6 hours, maybe 8 if our ships continue to delay them." Hae-jin nodded slowly. "Then it is time. Contact Arbiter Keln. Tell him I wish to negotiate." Tae-ho looked shocked. "Madam President, we cannot show weakness now." "Watch and learn," Hae-jin said with a cold smile. Arbiter Keln received the transmission from Earth with satisfaction. Finally, the humans understood their position. He opened the channel, expecting to see a defeated leader begging for mercy. Instead, President Hae-jin looked calm, almost serene. "Arbiter Keln," she said formally. "I am contacting you to discuss terms." "The only terms are your unconditional surrender," Keln replied. "You will be exterminated. Your planet will be sterilized. Your species will be erased from galactic history." "That is certainly possible," Hae-jin agreed. "Your fleet will destroy ours within hours. Your ships will bombard our planet. In 3 days, perhaps 4, Earth will be lifeless. You will have won." Keln frowned. Something was wrong. She was too calm, However, Hyejin continued, I want you to understand what victory will cost you. 53 years from now, our first relativistic missile will reach the Council homeworld of Paxis. 200 million citizens will die when that missile strikes at 70% of light speed. The planet will be rendered uninhabitable. She pulled up a display showing all 12 missiles and their trajectories. 74 years, Kelton will be hit. 92 years, Thornvale. 115 years, Vorn's homeworld of Nexus. All 12 Council homeworlds will be destroyed over the next 2 centuries. Every single Council citizen will spend their entire lives knowing that humanity's revenge is coming, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. The Council chamber, listening to the transmission, erupted in panic. Keln's face paled. We will find and destroy your missiles, Keln said. You cannot, Hyejin replied. They are too small, too fast, and there is too much space to search. But here is my proposal. Earth has the ability to remotely destroy those missiles. The detonation codes are in my possession. If you agree to my terms, I will destroy them. If you refuse, enjoy your victory today and explain to your grandchildren why their homeworlds will burn. Keln felt trapped. What are your terms? First, immediate ceasefire. Your fleet withdraws to Jupiter orbit. Second, Earth is admitted to the Galaxy Council as a full member with complete sovereignty. We govern ourselves, maintain our own military, and answer to no one. Third, humanity receives a permanent seat on the Council Security Authority with veto power. Fourth, all Council species will sign a non-aggression treaty with Earth, guaranteed for 500 years. That is outrageous, Keln shouted. We do not negotiate with predators. Then do not negotiate, Hyejin said calmly. Come and kill us, but know that in doing so, you sign the death warrant for billions of your own people. Every Council world will be destroyed eventually. That is the price of exterminating humanity. The choice is yours. War Marshal Thorn, listening from his damaged bridge, made a decision. He had fought in enough wars to know when victory was too expensive. Arbiter Keln, Thorn transmitted on a private channel, accept her terms. Are you insane? Keln demanded. They are a species of violent predators. We cannot allow them into the Council. They already are in the Council, Thorn said tiredly. Whether we acknowledge it or not, they have reached our homeworlds. They have proven they will never surrender. And they have shown that fighting them costs more than it is worth. Give them what they want. It is better than mutual destruction. The Council voted in emergency session. The tally was close, but survival instinct won. They accepted Earth's terms. 6 hours later, the Grand Armada withdrew to Jupiter orbit. Captain Wu Jin, wounded but alive, watched them go from his damaged ship. All around him, the wreckage of battle floated in space. So many human ships destroyed, so many lives lost. But Earth still stood. Commander Dae Sung was recovered from his crippled vessel and returned to Luna Base as a hero. The galaxy had learned his name, the human who had struck the War Marshal's flagship and survived. President Hyejin transmitted the detonation codes for the relativistic missiles. All 12 weapons detonated harmlessly in deep space, far from any populated system. The Council verified the destructions and honored the treaty. 5 years passed. The Galaxy Council met in special session to officially welcome Earth as its 48th member. President Hyejin, now serving her second term, stood before the assembled representatives with quiet dignity. We did not seek this conflict, she told them. We wanted only to live in peace. You forced us to fight for our survival, and we showed you what humans do when threatened. We hope that lesson is never forgotten. Arbiter Keln, still serving as Council Chairman, responded formally. Earth is recognized as a sovereign member of the Galaxy Council with full rights and protections. Humanity has earned its place among us. What he did not say, but everyone knew, was that humanity had terrified the galaxy into acceptance. Commander Daesung now served as Earth's ambassador to the Council, teaching alien civilizations about human military tactics and strategy. Many species attended his lectures with equal parts horror and fascination. War, real war, had returned to the galaxy after 10,000 years of peace. Humans had brought it back. General Taeho advised the Council military command on how to reform their peacekeeping forces. The old ceremonial fleet was being rebuilt into something more practical, more prepared for actual combat. The Council had learned that deterrence required the ability to fight, not just the appearance of power. Captain Wu Jin received the Council Medal of Honor, the first human to be so recognized. The ceremony was attended by representatives from every member species. When asked about his heroism, Wu Jin simply said, "I did what any human would do. I protected my home." Late at night, President Hyejin stood on the observation deck of the New Earth Embassy on the Council homeworld. She looked up at the alien stars and thought about Young-Soo and the thousands of others who had died defending humanity. "We won," she whispered to their memory. "Not the way anyone expected, but we won." General Taeho joined her, also looking at the stars. "Do you think they will ever forgive us for what we did?" "No," Hyejin said. "They will always fear us. But fear is better than extinction. We made them understand that humanity cannot be conquered, only respected. That is enough." Across the galaxy, in schools and military academies, in government offices and civilian homes, a new phrase entered common use. When faced with a difficult opponent, when dealing with someone who would not back down, species from 100 worlds now said the same thing. Do not anger them. They fight like humans. Earth had not conquered the galaxy, but the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. And that was the greatest victory of all.